All right, first of all, I'm trying something a little different. Thanks to a YouTuber named Chris Brockhurst. I am having my picture profile off and I'm using autumn leaves as my creative style. So I'm not sure I like it looking in the monitor right now, but what the hell? Let's see what it looks like. You gotta try it, right? Which brings me to my point about lenses. I think lenses are like people and relationships. Like, you have to try them. You have to kind of get involved with them a little bit before you can decide whether or not you really like them or not. So this is a continuation of my lens journey. You know, I've been going through quite the little sojourn of trying to figure out what lenses I want to use, what lenses work best for me, what allow me to express myself in a way that resonates with me best, you know, so that I feel like I'm really communicating what I'm trying to get across. I mean, I started with the kit lens when I first got this camera, the 16 to 50 kit lens, and I liked it, you know, it was okay. But of course I was in the rabbit hole of YouTubers and filmmakers and, you know, people, you know, recommending different lenses and things like that. And so I started to try different lenses. But what really kind of affected me was when I started to watch YouTube videos of directors that I liked and what lenses they used and why they used those lenses and in what circumstances they used the lenses. That really resonated with me. Along with the YouTubers talking about lenses too, and all the reviews that I watched and stuff like that, I got into the whole zoom versus prime thing. And I think I realized early on that I was more of a prime person, just because I like moving around and I don't like having too many options with regards to tech, you know, like the technology of everything. I decided that I wanted to master the camera, just like I would master a guitar or a piano or any instrument or anything in life that you really want to use as a part of your day-to-day creative expression. You know, you want to make it kind of a part of your body. I mean, I remember there used to be a guitar player that I really loved named Hiram Bullock. He's passed away, may he rest in peace, but he was one of the most incredible, especially rhythm guitar players in the music business. And I knew him, I was kind of friendly with him, and I always felt like the reason I loved his playing so much is because the guitar seemed like it was just a part of his body, you know, like just as much as his spleen or his heart, his liver, his kidneys. I mean, the guitar was attached to his body. Like whatever he felt or whatever he was thinking, he could play. He didn't have to think about chord structure or, you know, what fret he was at or, you know, his fingers or his pick or whatever. He didn't have to think about anything. I mean, it was just like seriously organically a part of him. And that's how I feel like I want to get with my camera. You know, I mean, I started as a theater artist. Well, actually, I started in the music business. I've been a theater artist for a very long time. I got into filmmaking a couple of years ago when the pandemic hit. And so to me, a camera is like another creative tool. And the lenses became the most important part to me, or at least the most interesting part. And so I started on this journey. So first I had the kit lens. And then when I started to listen to the YouTubers, the first lens that I got after the kit lens was, believe it or not, a Samyang 12mm f2, which is an ultra wide angle lens, you know. And, you know, not as wide as it would be on a full frame camera. My camera is a APS-C crop sensor camera, the A6400. And so it's the equivalent of an 18mm, but still it's like uber wide. It's got like a fisheye effect. It changes the way my face looks. It changes everything. And I'm into this, like I'm a solo theater artist, so I made a solo film. I shot a film all by myself. I was the only one in it, but I would say it was 50% visual and 50% dialogue. So it was really a movie. You know, I didn't want to make just a performance video. I've got plenty of performance videos out on the internet, and you know, I've done so many plays. People have made videos of me. I made a mini series out of one of my plays. There's a lot of stuff out there. I didn't want to make a performance video. I wanted to make a movie, and so I did. But what was interesting is I never felt like I couldn't get the shot that I needed, but I only used my cell phone to shoot that movie. And so I only had a 27mm lens on the, it was an LG V40, which has a 27mm lens. And I never felt want for anything. Like, I got every shot that I wanted. I didn't feel like, damn, I wish I had a different lens. I never felt that way. Now, the cool thing about the LG V40 was that it almost acted like a macro lens too. Like, cell phones are really, really great when you get really up close to your subject. So I was able to get very intimate shots with myself. I was able to get like those cool kind of macro shots with flowers and leaves floating, and you know, I shot most of the film in my neighborhood in the Bronx, and so I got a lot of really great shots of my feet while I was running and interesting stuff. But I also got great landscape kind of stuff and great, you know, shots of the city. The film, it's called The Center of Distance. It's kind of a love letter to New York City too. And so I thought, you know, I don't really need a zoom lens. I mean, the thought of a zoom lens is really interesting to me, and I actually, for a while, I owned the 18-105, and I actually really enjoyed it. I got a lot of great shots out of it. I think I did a lot of really good work with it, and I learned a lot from it. But I found that I didn't use it as much as I was using my prime lenses. I had also bought, I guess the first lens that I bought that I felt was like, whoa, real step up, like a really professional lens, was a Sony 35mm f1.8 OSS for APS-C. However, I didn't really understand the whole crop sensor 1.5 times, you know, focal length thing, and so I didn't really understand that I was really looking at a 52mm focal length. So everything looked really up close, and so I really enjoyed that lens. It seemed really, really intimate to me, and I learned a lot using it because the aperture was so hard to work with when I had it shooting wide open at f1.8 all the time. I had to really learn how to deal with my focus, and you know, speaking of focus too, on my film, I wound up using manual focus 99% of the time, because one time I was doing a long monologue walking up and down the Grand Concourse and through the Kingsbridge area, and I was using autofocus, and my camera chose everything that was behind me. And so I did this really long monologue. I felt like it was a great take, and I was out of focus. So interestingly, I was able to kind of fix it in post-production. It wasn't perfect, but it looked good enough. It was sharp enough. So I worked it out, but as a result of that, excuse me, I never used autofocus again for the whole film, and so I mainly use manual focus with my lenses now too, even if they're autofocus. Like right now, I'm using a Zeiss Batis 25mm, and it's autofocus, and I am using autofocus right now. But generally, like, I'm shooting stuff for a new film right now, I'm using manual focus 90% of the time, because I don't really trust that the camera is going to be able to think the way I think, obviously, you know. So I guess for certain circumstances I do use autofocus, but I always kind of manually focus first, then I lock it in, you know, or I'll use autofocus to lock it in, and then I'll set it to manual focus to make sure that my shot does not, you know, waver all over the place. So anyway, the journey. Let me get back to it. I'm sorry, I'm kind of all over the place, which is kind of a good metaphor for dealing with lenses as well, because I think a lot of people are kind of all over the place with regards to dealing with, you know, learning which lenses that they want to use. Like, first of all, are you a zoom person, or are you a prime person? One of the reasons I like prime lenses is because it gives me the opportunity to get a whole bunch of different lenses, really inexpensively too, because I am into character. You know, I'm not necessarily into really sharp lenses. Like, I own the Sigma 16mm f1.4 for a while, because every YouTuber said this is like the greatest lens in the history of the world. For APS-C at least, it's the best lens you could have. If you could only have one lens, stuff like that, you should get this lens. So I got it, and it was certainly a great lens, that's for sure. I mean, I got some great shots with it, and I did some really good work with it, but it never really move me. You know what I mean? Like I didn't really, it was so sharp. It was almost kind of antiseptic to me. Like I wasn't feeling it, you know? And so I got it for a great price. B&H had a sale for $299 brand new, but I sold it and I got this Zeiss instead, and I love this lens so much. This Zeiss Batis 25mm, actually when it was brand new, was $1,300. I got it for $400 from MPB. Thank you, MPB. And I find it to be a great lens for me because it actually has great character. It looks the way it looks, like it's got different kind of colors coming out of it. It is really sharp, but I don't know, it's not nearly as sharp as a Sigma in my opinion, you know, from my experience. And so I also got, so I said I had the 18-105 for a while and I really enjoyed it, but you know, I don't know, I guess it just felt kind of weird to me that I could just zoom in and out and I didn't have to move and I could just pretty much get anything I wanted. But I don't know, I didn't feel a part of anything. It's like, I like driving a clutch, for example. My car is a 5-speed. I would much prefer to drive that than an automatic. I feel more a part of the process of driving. And I think it's the same thing with manual lenses. I have to move. If I want to get closer in, I have to walk up to a subject. If I want to get further away, I got to get away. Sometimes it's frustrating because sometimes I just want to get a shot. And so sometimes I wish I didn't have to run away. But it's fine. You know, it makes me feel more a part of the process, like more tangibly a part of it, you know. And also, I feel like with manual lenses, I feel like I was saying before, I have more of an opportunity to try different things, to try more lenses because they're so cheap. You know, it's amazing. Like, you know, a lot of these lenses cost $2,000, $20,000. Like some of these prime lenses for full frame cameras are really expensive, but I find it amazing that one of the favorite lenses of some, you know, famous filmmakers is a Helios 44mm lens, which you can get for like $60. You know, because of the way it looks, because it's got a certain character to it, because it doesn't look like any other lens, you know. You don't have to really put a filter on it if you don't want to. I mean, an ND filter, yes, but you don't have to put like a black pearl mist filter on it to you know, have it, give it character. It already has character. So I found that I have owned the Samyang 12mm f2. I've owned the 16mm f1.4 Sigma. I own the 16-50 kit lens. I own the 18-105 f4 Sony lens. I own, and I still own the Sony 35mm f1.8. I owned the Sony 50mm f1.8 for a while, and I sold that, even though I actually like that lens a lot. But I just found that I don't know, well, actually I sold it because when I was using the kit lens and the 18-105, when I was shooting at 50mm, I just used that. So I just sold it because somebody offered me a lot more money for it than I paid for it, so I just sold it. And I also own, and I still own, the 55-210, the Sony zoom lens, because I feel like, you know, I found it brand new for $100 online. And, you know, it's kind of a cool lens if I'm at like a sporting event or something like that, which I rarely bring a camera to something like that. But if I do want that kind of a zoom, if I really want to get a far reach, you know, like if perchance I'm shooting birds or something like that, which I don't do that either, I have it, you know. And I actually like the way it looks. And honestly, the reason I bought that lens is because there's a woman named Marzia Zaru. You should check her out. I'll link her in the description below. But I saw some videos of hers on YouTube and I was mind blown by how beautiful they were, how amazing of a filmmaker she is, and how creative she is. Like, she creates her own filters for her lenses, and she's really amazing. So I was really heavily influenced by her, and I bought that lens when I saw it. And I kept it because it was so cheap. But two other lenses that I own that I really love are, my father was a photographer in the Army. He was in World War II. And he was a photographer, not a professional photographer, but they just told him, you're a photographer now. So he learned how to do that. And he passed away a long time ago. And I have a camera of his, an old camera, an old Minolta, and two lenses that he had. One of them is a 28mm f2.8, and one of them is a 50mm f1.4 Rocore. and it is an incredible lens. Both of those lenses are all manual, like manual aperture, manual focus, and I love them. I mean, I love the way they look. I mean, you talk about character, they definitely look the way they look. Like, they don't look like any other lens. And so I have both of those lenses, and you know, again, I love manually focusing. I love having control of the lens. I mean, yeah, sometimes it's inconvenient, and sometimes, you know, I guess for me, because I haven't really mastered anything yet. I mean, I've been doing this now for about 2 years. Sometimes I will miss a shot because I'm fumbling with the lens and I'm trying to get everything straight. But I am getting really good at it now, and I'm getting to the point where I know how to move things quickly. And, you know, I mean, for like true filmmaking lenses, you know, with T-stops, they're all manual. You know, filmmaking cameras, you know, like real film cameras, are all manual, like everything. So I think it's a great tool to go manual as well. And I find that, you know, you have to have prime lenses if you're going to go manual. You know, there are no zoom, you know, manual lenses that I know of anyway. So anyway, the journey has been pretty incredible for me. I've owned a lot, obviously, and I've sold most of them. So what I have now is I still have the Samyang because I like the way it looks. And it's all manual, so it's fun, and it was cheap, you know. I own, obviously, the Zeiss Batis 25mm f2, and I would say that this lens, which is kind of like looking out of a proper 35mm, it's the equivalent of 37. So again, I was influenced heavily by a YouTuber named Brandon Lee, who I think is like a magnificent genius level filmmaker. He did a video about a 35mm lens that he uses most of the time, and 35mm to most people is the way the world looks through our eyes, through the human eye. And so this Zeiss 25mm looks kind of like the equivalent of a 35mm, and yeah, I find that it's what I enjoy working with the most, so it's on my camera most of the time. So I still own this one, obviously. I have my father's 50mm f1.4, which I use quite a bit. I like the way it looks. If I'm shooting people, I really like to use it for, you know, portrait type of stuff or talking head, documentary type of work. Even if I'm shooting myself, you know, I have to work hard to get it to focus. Obviously, I have to, you know, like set it up, put something where I'm going to be sitting, focus it in, get the lights right, and whatever I focus with, it has to be close to the color of my skin. But it works out, you know, as long as you're willing to do the work, you can get it to work, and you can get the shot that you want. So I still own that lens. I have the 55 to 210, and that's all I have. Oh, and I have the kit lens. I have the 16 to 50 kit lens because, again, I bought it at MPB for 40 bucks. I actually had sold the one that came with this camera. I bought my Sony a6400 on eBay, and I got a great price, and it came with the kit lens, but I sold it early on. But then I decided I wanted it. You know, like when I saw it on MPB for 40 bucks, I was like, yo, that's, you know, it's good to have. And again, you know, if I'm just running around having fun, it's not bad to have a zoom lens. And I, you know, even though people hate that lens for some reason, I kind of like the way it looks. Obviously, it only goes down to 3.5, so it's not the fastest lens. But as long as, you know, it's during the day, it's fine. And it does look good, and you can get pretty decent bokeh. I get great bokeh with this lens, with this Zeiss. I get great bokeh with my Samyang, even though it's a wide-angle lens. I get great, superior bokeh with my father's 50mm. So I'm shooting a new film. The film that I shot with my cell phone, I finished. It is officially an award-winning film, I'm proud to say. We won Best Indie Feature, a Milan Gold Award, and that's Milan, Italy. We won Best Original Score. Congratulations to Steve Peckman, the genius musician who created my score for that film. But now I'm working on a new movie, a new film, and again, I'm shooting it pretty much all by myself. Well, I am shooting it all by myself. I think there's going to be a second character in this film. I'm not absolutely positive yet, because like I said, I'm a solo theater artist, so I play a lot of characters, and I'm kind of trying to create a new genre of filmmaking, like solo filmmaking. But you know, plenty of people obviously shoot themselves and do solo filmmaking, but I'm talking about making a film with solo characters, but not in a theatrical kind of sense, like in a movie. And I'm not going to get too deeply into it because I'm doing it myself, and you know, keeping some of the secrets to myself for now. But anyway, I really enjoy this journey of trying to find the lenses that work for me, because I find it very spiritual in a way. I find that to find the lens that you like is like dealing with people in relationships. You know, you have to spend a lot of time with it. You have to, you know, work with it. You have to put yourself in different situations with it. You have to try to express yourself creatively with it. You know, you have to try to tell a story with these lenses. And ultimately you find out what resonates most with you, like what you feel the most comfortable with, just like people. And that's who you're going to hang with, that's who you're going to stay with, right? And those are the lenses that you're going to stay with. And you know, the other thing is, you know, I'm kind of a minimalist when it comes to my theater work, when it comes to my life, when it comes to everything. I'm really kind of a minimalist. And so I'm kind of finding myself getting down to just having 2 lenses most of the time. Again, I own that wide-angle lens, the Samyang, and if I want a really crazy wide-angle shot, or if I want some kind of distortion, you know, like I'm a big fan of the Coen Brothers films, and they use that kind of effect a lot. If I do that, I'll have the lens, you know, and it's not a great expense to me. But mostly I'm going to work with this Samyang and my father's lens, and I think I can pretty much do everything that I want. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, was the continuation of my lens journey, because I had done a video earlier about it, and I'm really feeling like I'm getting a handle on, you know, how it all is working for me, and feeling more and more comfortable with what I have, and not worrying so much about the technology anymore, and just, you know, getting to the point now where I just really want to master this camera and master using these lenses. And you know, now I'm getting into lighting. I'm becoming just completely obsessed with lighting and how to use it creatively, and you know, how to use it, you know, correctly, but also how to really use it to get exactly the kind of images that I want to communicate what I'm trying to communicate, and tell my stories in the best possible way that I can to create this beautiful shared experience with the audience, with you, you know, with you and me. You know, we're having an exchange, we're having a conversation, we're doing this together. And so I'm really enjoying all of this. It's a great gift to me, and you know, if there was no pandemic, I never would have done this. You know, I had a tour set up with a new play. I was actually supposed to open a new play at the Signature Theater in New York on June 12th of 2020, and that got canceled, and I was incredibly depressed, and I just decided to make a movie, even though, you know, I kind of had the audacity to decide to make a movie because I had no idea what I was doing. But it turned out that it kind of sent me down a different road of creativity, and now I have more creative tools to tell my stories. So I'm very grateful for that. I mean, I'm not grateful for the pandemic, and it's been pretty horrific for many, many people, but I'm grateful for, you know, I guess what the universe did in kind of pushing me in a new direction for my creative work. So anyway, I'm going to end this video now. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you coming here. Please subscribe if you find any interest in the work that I do, and hit the like button if you like this video. That's what YouTubers say, so I'm saying it. I'm trying to post something at least once a week, and thank you very much. I hope you're well, and I will see you on the next video. Peace, all the good stuff. All right.